Hi all, today I welcome you to the plant table where we will talk about the very popular and hardy Ficus elastica, commonly known as the rubber plant. I'm making this video based on the amount of questions and requests that I get about this plant. But before we start, I would love to invite you to follow me on Instagram for closer interactions and to be part of a growing plant loving community. We have many planty activities going on there, so come and be a part of this. Also, participate in the giveaway for the month of February. Do go and check the description to know more. The rubber plant is a plant that belongs to the Moraceae family, which houses the mulberry and figs, around 1,000 species of them, and the genus is Ficus. It is native to eastern parts of South Asia and Southeast Asia. This plant has many cultivars like the Tineke, Burgundy, Ruby, Decora being the most common one, Robusta, Shiveriana, and many more. Some of the few interesting names it goes by are the rubber fig, rubber bush, rubber tree, rubber plant, or Indian rubber bush, and the Indian rubber tree. In its natural habitat, it grows to 30 to 40 meters tall as a tree. New leaves on this plant grow inside a sheath and it slowly unfurls as it grows out of the protective sheath, which then drops off as the leaf matures. Only a specific fig wasp can pollinate the flowers of the Ficus elastica, like the other ficuses. This plant yields a milky white latex that was used to make rubber formerly. Now, rubber is sourced mainly for commercial use by the latex that is drawn from the Hevea brasilensis, the para rubber tree, which is a completely different tree. The Ficus elastica has been used to build botanical architecture without using tools in many cultures all around the world. The tree is planted on either side of the riverbank, and once it reaches maturity, the aerial roots are wound across some deadwood or bamboo and are made to go across the river. The roots, which usually hang down vertically, are directed to go horizontally. And when this happens, when they reach the opposite side, they are implanted and begin to thicken eventually and they grow stronger. Over time, men guide more roots to make a solid network and they even build bridges like this. Ficus elastica belongs to a group of strangler figs. What happens is birds eat seeds and drop them down on trees. Even through their droppings, these seeds sometimes germinate on the tree branches, growing as epiphytic plants. The aerial roots from these epiphytes start growing downwards from the host tree and sometimes cling themselves to the stem of the host tree and finally get rooted into the ground. In very old epiphytes, these aerial roots form like a scaffold around the host tree stem and they thicken to form a firm structure. In the process, it stifles the growth of the host tree by competing against it for canopy cover, rooting, and nutrition. In time, the host tree dies and disintegrates, leaving only a hollow frame of the strangler fig. Sunlight. Many people claim that the Ficus elastica can do well under low light, but I would strongly disagree. Just think about it. In the wild, this plant grows to be a large tree. Don't you think it needs a good amount of sunlight? I think it does. What happened with my rubber plant long back when I was a new gardener was I bought it and I kept it in a low light spot because of some articles that I had read about it being a low light plant. Now it did okay in that area for some time, but then suddenly, without any warning, it started dropping leaves and eventually the plant died. So remember to put this plant in a spot where it will get a dose of good bright light, maybe not too harsh direct light in a southwestern exposure, as leaves might scorch in bright afternoon light, but bright morning direct to indirect bright light will do. In my balcony, it gets indirect bright light in winter, and in the summer and rainy season, it gets morning direct sunlight for a couple of hours. And this plant has been doing okay till now. So, the main thing that gardeners take for granted with this plant is that they do not give it the light that it needs. I feel majority of problems are solved if you understand that this plant needs good bright light. Maybe morning direct light in an eastern exposure will be perfect for it. If you have a south or western exposure, move it a little back, a little away from direct sunlight, because I have heard that many people have had the leaves of this plant scorching in such kind of light. So just find a good spot for this where it receives enough sunlight, and this plant, I assure you, will do very well. Water. When you give it more sunlight, it will need more water as well. So tune your watering schedule accordingly. The best and most effective way to ensure that you don't overwater or underwater is simply check the soil before you water again. If it is dry 2 inches down, then water again. Deep water the plant and let it dry a little before you water again. You will have to make your own watering schedule, as a lot of factors like the kind of soil the plant is in, the kind of sunlight you receive, the kind of air drafts, the humidity in your area, all will hamper and will affect how you need to water your plants. So don't go by what someone else tells you. Just make your own watering schedule, is what I would advise. Soil. The rubber plant tolerates most soil, but it needs soil that is more well draining rather than moisture retaining. So don't use too much coco peat and vermiculite that will retain a lot of water. If your plant is in a pot that is already in a moisture retaining mix, then be very careful while you are watering your plant, as you might end up over watering it. Also, this plant needs a nutrient rich mix. So adding compost to your mix is a very good idea. So all in all, it needs a nutrient rich, well draining soil. Most rubber plants come potted in clay soil from nurseries and they grow pretty well in them. So you don't need to panic and start repotting your plants right away. Whenever you have the need to repot your plant, that is when you put them in a better soil mix. Fertilizing. Monthly fertilizing with a nitrogen rich fertilizer can be more than enough for this plant to grow healthy. I use compost or seaweed solution. Toxicity. The white milky sap of this plant is toxic and can cause irritation to the eyes if it comes in contact with your eyes. If consumed, this sap can irritate your bowels as well. So it's best to keep it away from kids and pets, and be careful when you come in contact with the sap. Wash your hands thoroughly. Pruning. If you want this plant to grow well and you want it to grow bushy, you could prune it occasionally, or you could pinch off the bud. Pruning gives your plant better shape. It also, whenever you prune a plant, the plant realizes that it's lost a lot of foliage that will help it make its food. So it pushes out new growth. So it's always good to prune your plant so that new foliage, more foliage grows. But remember to do it once in a while, maybe once a year or something like that, not more than that. And when you prune, don't prune more than 25% of your plant. So before I continue with the video, I'd like to quickly tell you about another Mama Earth product that I'm using. The Upton combo, which includes the Upton face wash and the face mask. The Upton face mask gives your face a fresh and bright look. It has the goodness of saffron, turmeric, and apricot oil. It helps to clear spots, enhances the skin complexion, firms and tones the skin as well. The cucumber extract in it helps cool a tanned and sunburned skin. To make it more effective, I use the Mama Earth Upton face wash that contains licorice extract and carrot seed oil, which is known to repair sun damage and remove tan from the upper layer of your skin. To use the mask, you apply a generous amount of it on your face and spread it evenly. Let it set for 15 minutes and then wash it off with warm water. You will find your skin brighter, refreshed, and glowing. All Mama Earth products are paraben and silicone free and are dermatologically tested. Mama Earth has come up with a plant goodness initiative, wherein every time you buy from them, they will link your order on the website to a tree that they plant. By 2025, Mama Earth is aiming to plant 1 million trees as a part of this initiative. Also, the best part is that Mama Earth ensures that they recycle more plastic than they use. So Mama Earth recycles over 120 metric tons of plastic every month. How cool is that? You can use my coupon code GREEN2021 to get an additional 20% off on the Mama Earth website. You can also get these products from Amazon, Nykaa, and Flipkart. Grooming. The leaves of the Ficus elastica are wide and big and hold a lot of dust on the surface. So, what you can do is wipe it down occasionally, or you can hose down the dust or wash the plant occasionally. Dust tends to block the pores, that is the stomata, and it hampers transpiration. So, it's important to clean the leaves once in a while. Humidity. It is a humidity loving plant and will thrive in places where the humidity is high, but it will also tolerate low humidity. It does best in humidity that is in between 60 to 80%. Temperature. This plant will tolerate cold, but temperatures above 10 degrees Celsius to below 29 degrees is best to keep it happy. Avoid cold, direct, windy drafts. This plant won't appreciate that. Growth. Under good light, humidity, and perfect conditions, it grows quite well. Though not fast enough in indirect bright light like in my balcony. It has been growing steadily but slowly because it's not getting that much light. But if you give it direct morning sunlight, you will see a big difference in its growth rate. Also, pinching and pruning aids in good growth. Also, remember to give it a good nitrogen rich fertilizer every month to help it grow healthy and bushier. Another thing you need to remember is to give this plant a stake to support as it grows taller, as the stem often cannot support the weight of the leaves, and the plant tends to lean on one side. So, a stake always helps this plant. Propagation. For this plant, I would lean towards soil propagation more than water. The water also works for it. What you could do to propagate it in soil is take a cutting just below a node that has a few leaves on it, dip it in rooting hormone, and bury it in a moisture retaining but airy mix. Set a bag over it or something that acts like a mini greenhouse and ensure it gets high humidity and bright indirect light. Or you can opt to propagate it during the rainy season when the humidity is already really high. Air layering is another great way to propagate this plant. If you are interested in knowing more about this method, do leave that in the comments down below and I will do a video for you. Problems. This plant is relatively pest and disease free in my opinion. I've not had too many issues with it. Here are a few issues that you might face with this plant. The first one is leaf drop. A lot of things contribute to leaf drop with ficuses. The change in space, temperature, underwatering, overwatering, lack of light, all this can force the plant to dramatically drop its leaves. So, what you have to do is refer to the care needs of the plant and try to find out the problem. And when you have the problem understood, rectify that, and that is what will save your plant. Root rot. Root rot is mainly caused because of overwatering, and that is why it is best to have this plant growing in a well draining mix. And be very careful when you are watering your plant. Do not water before the soil dries up a little bit. White spots. I have had people asking me about tiny white spots they see on their rubber plant leaves. These spots are evenly spaced towards the sides of the leaf, and they are not any bugs or pests, that I can assure you. These spots are actually called cystoliths, and they are harmless calcium carbonate crystals that form on the cell walls of the leaves. There are some studies that show that cystoliths could improve the plant's ability to photosynthesize better by scattering light. However, it is something that you don't need to worry about. Leaf spots. Leaf spots could be caused because of bacterial or fungal infections that were caused because of low light, wetness, lack of air circulation, and all that. Remove the infected leaves and put the plant gradually in a bright and more airy spot where it will grow healthy. Yellowing edges of leaves. This could be because of underfeeding or poor soil, but also could be because of any other underlying issues. So always try to see what it is that you are not giving the plant that it really needs and rectify that and provide it with that so that the plant is able to grow healthier. Pests. Pests like scales and spider mites are known to affect these plants. Remove scales and treat the area with isopropyl alcohol. For mites, wash the leaves, especially the undersides, and spray them with a diluted neem oil solution. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Also, do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon to join the notification squad and participate in this month's giveaway. I hope to see you soon in another video. Till then, stay green.